Hello and welcome to the Calxa training video, Step 1, Connect for QuickBooks. This video is the first in a series of 7 designed to help you get up and running with Calxa. In this video, we'll demonstrate connecting Calxa Premier to your QuickBooks accounting file. After installing and activating Calxa with either a trial or purchase serial number, you'll be prompted with the Calxa authentication window. Calxa Premier supports 2 data source options. However, in this video, we'll be covering a local data file. It is important to ensure when using a local data file that your data is stored on your local machine. For this reason, an SQL Server data source should be considered if you plan to have multiple users, expect your data file to grow quite large, or require automated backups. For more information on SQL Server, please contact Calxa Customer Support. By default, the username is administrator with an empty password. You may change this later, but for now, just click the Sign In button to continue. Calxa has recognised that the data source we are connected to does not have any organisation data and provides you with 3 options: create an organisation, connect to another data source, and a link to the Getting Started training videos, of which you are watching one now. Since we've already chosen our data source on the previous screen and you're watching a training video now, we will choose Create Organisation, and since we're demonstrating QuickBooks, select the QuickBooks option. Now before we proceed here, I just want to make a few points about how QuickBooks allows connections from third-party applications like Calxa. Basically, QuickBooks requires that permission be granted by an administrator of the company file for Calxa to access the data. To do this, you need to have your QuickBooks file open for this initial connection, so please ensure you have your QuickBooks company file open before proceeding. Now this permission only needs to be granted once, and therefore this is not a requirement for future data updates. So as you can see, with this in mind, we only have one option available, so click Next to proceed, and if you have budgets that you wish to import, simply select the checkbox here and then click the Finish button. Now this screen is just explaining that permission needs to be granted in QuickBooks, as we've already discussed. Switch to QuickBooks and you should see a dialog box similar to this one. Select Yes, always allow access even if QuickBooks is not running, then click the Continue button to proceed. Acknowledge the confirmation by clicking Yes and then Done to finish. Permission has now been granted and the data import will begin. A series of steps and progress will be shown until the import is successfully completed. This may take a few minutes depending on the size of your accounting file. Once completed, click Close. That's it. We've now imported all accounts, customers, classes, and related monthly data. Okay, so let's explain the rest of this screen. So what we've imported so far is a snapshot of our accounting data as it stands right now. So you will need to update this data in the future, and you'll need to do that by coming to this screen. To get here, you can click on the Organisation Management button in the top ribbon, or Calxa will also prompt you on login if any of your organisations have not been updated in more than 7 days, which will also get you to this screen. To update, click Update, and as I mentioned earlier, you do now have the option to browse for your QuickBooks file rather than needing to open it. Also in the Organisation Management page, you can edit the following details about your company: the last month in your financial year and the last actuals period. These will both be updated from your QuickBooks file each time you update, with the last actuals period being the last completed month. Further to this, you can set the main or default budget version you wish to use for editing and reporting. You can set a bank overdraft for cash flow reporting, and you can also mark your organisation as inactive, which will remove it from lists in other screens. So that brings us to the end of Step 1. The next video in this series is Step 2, Enter Your Budgets. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact our friendly customer support team on 1800-733-249 or email helpme@calxa.com. For sales inquiries, please call 1800-733-149 or email tellmemore@calxa.com.